Hey guys, so I wanted to show you guys a Stitches game that I played, and I've been trying a variation of his builds. The one thing that I can say that seemed to be the most powerful for him, so I go a Gorge build in this. I've been running, my favorite build with Stitches was a Slam Bio build, and in this case I wanted to go a Gorge build because I don't normally play Gorge, so I was like, oh, I'll give it a shot. But in the Slam build, I've been going the Patchwork Creation, as it's a good amount of healing, increases your healing, and you can really stay in these fights for a lot longer. The Hungry for More talent is cool for Gorge build because you can build up a lot of health, you can be very tanky, and if you hook and gorge someone, you have extra movement speed, so you can kind of get into a good position to really drop them off at. But I'm not very good at the Gorge build, especially since they've got the Slam gives a slow now. So what you want to do is you want to pull someone and you want to gorge them, and then as you let them go, you slam down. You'll notice this game that I tend to miss a lot as I let them out from the Gorge, because they use a movement ability usually right after. So I do like that he can kind of follow up his own hooks. Like you can see I did a big 40% slow right after I hooked, allowed me to get a kill. The hook Gorge build is going to be, I think, just generally better than it was before, to the point that they might need to make some changes. I talked to a Blizzard employee kind of off the record, and so I'm not going to really mention who it is or what it is, but he says that he thinks that the Stitches may end up seeing some balance changes, probably within 2 weeks after its release. Not necessarily that it's OP, but that it does everything that Hook Stitches used to do, but now it does it just better. As for Slam build's about where it was before, with more wave clear, but a little bit less wideness, I guess is the best way to say it, because there's no longer a talent that increases the size of your slam anymore, and the 16 doesn't reduce the cooldown anymore. However, the base cooldown is just generally lower. There's no early level W talents. The only thing that I would say about that is that all of the early ones were really boring talents. They were literally just W talents. That's all they were, was just W talent. Like, they were just W damage. Your level 1 talent was 40% more damage on W. That's boring. That's a boring talent. Then it was your W infects him with Vile Gas. That just means that your W does more damage. That's still boring. So all of those things are really, really boring, and that's why I didn't really want to... I didn't really mind they removed all of the earlier talents for his W, because they just didn't feel good. So the W talents are still about where they were at before, or in terms of the W build, it feels like it's about where it was at before, but now you only slow when things are close. Your level 16 talent doesn't apply as slow. Oh no, it does. It slows all the targets. So yeah, Slam build's pretty much where it was at, just a little bit less wide and a little bit more damage. And it's a little bit better in the early game, as you have more wave clear in the early game in Slam build. Hook build, on the other hand, is interesting. So I think generally it's just better than what it was before. I think they need to nerf the size of Hook a little bit further, as the size has only been decreased by a little bit. I'd like to see that nerfed even further. So for Hook build, I decided to go with Serrated Edge. All of these actually work with Hook build, to be completely honest. I've been saying that there's 2 Hook builds now. There's the Hook Gorge and there's the Battle Hook. And both of them could use Gorge. It's just that one, its primary purpose is Gorge. So the Hook build, I go Hungry for More, because if you're going to be playing for Gorge, you want that extra movement speed. The level 4, there are 3 options you can do. One makes it to where your Slam reduces the cooldown of your Hook. Serrated Edge makes it to where hooking reduces the cooldown of your Hook and does 5% damage. And then Chop Chop makes it to where if you hook someone, then and then you slam them, you get the bonus attack speed. So I call that the Battle Hook. But otherwise, this is good for just a Slam build, because you're just going to keep trying to slam everyone. I mean, both of these are pretty good for a Slam build if you want to like keep slamming and hooking and slamming and hooking. But generally, these are all good talents. I just feel Serrated Edge is good, because if your whole goal is to hook someone and win with that hook, then Serrated Edge makes it to where when you hook someone, you're getting them in a much better position to kill them later. So, and it gives you more hooks if you're really good at your hooks. On to Tenderizer, or this whole talent tier right here. I liked Tenderizer because it made it to where your basic attack's slow, or if you have your W slow, which is a 40% slow, and then you use Tenderizer, you can keep that 40% slow on people for a long time. So my goal was to hook someone, and then was to slow them, and then to auto attack them, and to keep them slowed for as long as possible. I learned a little bit later this game that I had a lot of opportunities where I could have just sat there and auto attack people, so there's a chance that Cannibalize is going to be better than I thought it was. But I don't know. We'll see. Bile seems pretty good too, seeing as this will heal off of the damage dealt to minions as well. So if you're going from like wave to wave, I wonder how good of a bruiser he's going to be if you get like the Patchwork Creation into the Blight. You're going to be healing a lot when you go to minions, and then the rest of it's just up to you. Probably a chop chop if you're going to be a bruiser. Level 10, again, I was going to go the Gorge build this game, and so that's generally what I'm going to do. His wave clear seems to be generally pretty good. I can move my head, actually, since you guys can't see the abilities and my cooldowns. Let me move it right there. Figure I'll just have this on. I got the whole green screen set up. I've got like 40 lights around me now. You know, all the usual. But yeah, so the what's it called? Yeah, his wave clear seems pretty good now. I don't know if it's nowhere near as good as like a Blaze or a Joanna, but it's good enough, I think. It's generally good enough. So I'm still okay with that. You can see still the amount of slows that he applies. And you can see like once you get a slow on someone, it's very easy to keep them slowed. I attacked the turret there to apply the damage over time to the Valeera while she was stealthed, hoping that that extra stack might kill her. But we're pretty much done with that one. So I tried to hook to save one of the allies, but it didn't end up working. I gorged because I'm like, if we're going to die here, we might as well at least get one kill. So I already have 23 on my Hungry for More, and it's not too bad. If we had like an Alex Straza, that means that I would be at, she would be at 23 as well. And then she can start giving me globes every time that she presses her W. And again, I tried to actually hook the using Hungry for More, but there was actually a bug where if you used Hungry for More on an ally, not Hungry for More, Helping Hand. If you used Helping Hand on an ally and you had this serrated edge talent, you would do 5% of the ally's health. Hopefully they've fixed that. If not, that's going to be an interesting bug to hit live. There's a gorge over there. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, I wanted to see how long I could do a camp. So I backed up to get the camp to get closer to each other, and then I was like, I just gave up. That was my own fault. The damage to camps is not that great, generally. It's all AoE damage, so against like a 1 or 2 camp, it's not really that big of a deal. Pretty much just eat him so that I can grab the thing. And then I end up dying. So in this build, you're a lot tankier, but as you can see, a lot of the fights, I tend to just be auto-attacking a lot. So I do wonder if it's worth getting that slow. The Tenderize slow seems really, really powerful. If you hook, you slow someone, you can keep them slowed forever. But the Cannibalize tends to just seem better because there's so many fights where I can just sit there and auto-attack people. So that 2% healing every time that I auto-attack, plus the extra health that I'm getting from Hungry for More, and it just generally seems really good. On to this talent, I didn't really know what I wanted to get. I could get Gas Flare, where if I hook people, I do AoE damage, but my concern about getting Gas Flare was that if I hook someone and then I gorge them, the Gas Flare's damage turns off before the gorge ends, and then I get my regular slow. Which means that Gas Flare is probably not going to get that much value during the game. So I was like, I'm going to go with Lacerate, to where if I hook someone, I gorge them, I can then turn off their armor during a fight. And I figured that was going to be the best tool for our game. But then there's also Devour reduces damage. My thought process, again, was if I'm going to hook and gorge someone, I don't need to reduce their damage. So right here, the gorge is about to end, and I want to show you how I didn't really play this that well and how we need to kind of adjust our play style. When I let her out of the gorge, I immediately try to slam where she's at, which then makes it to where all she has to do is dodge to the side, and she's going to miss the gorge. I think the best thing to do is after the gorge ends, give it 1 second to see where people go, and then use your slow. And from your slow, you should be good. And I think I would have been able to slow her and kill her at that point. But because I'm still landing my hooks, my serrated is keeping the cooldown really low, allowing me to have my hook back up in case I wanted it. But this fight's not going too great for us, so we're just going to kind of let that go. The hook range is a little bit smaller, so you can see there's some like max range hooks I'll throw, and it'll be like this close, and it's just because I'm going to blame it on the hook range being decreased. But in reality, I was never the best at hooks. So again, if he uses the last rites on me, I'm dead, but otherwise, yeah, I'm dead anyways. That's a nanoed, Malthael. So, in this, we're going to fast forward up to level 16, and I will talk a little bit about what I pick up at 16 and why. And we're doing pretty good. Alright, so my 16 talent that I picked was Fishing Hook. Again, I'm just in the hook build. I want to be able to hook people from really far away, and I want to be able to gorge them and get a kill. So if you liked that playstyle of Stitches, I think it's actually better unless they nerf it. And I personally think the easiest way to nerf it would be to lower the hook range even more. But generally, I think it's a net buff to the people who did like the hook build. And again, I have my hook off cooldown just because it's such a low cooldown if you get the serrated edge. I will say anyone who liked Shish Kebab won't be able to do that. This fight in here was pretty good. So that hook woke me up and brought me close enough. So I hooked the Ana, and then he hooked me while I was slept because the Ana slept me because she got hooked. Then he pulled me in, which then not only woke me up because of the damage that the hook does, but also got me close enough to where I can use my slam to slow the Ana. This is a full health Ana and a full health Stitches, and watch how this fight goes. I slam, which then gives the slow. I then auto-attack the Stitches to keep the slow on him. I auto-attack the Stitches again. You can see this 40% slow that I'm applying to him is really, really big. And then after I see that she's healing him, if I remember right, I adjust position and try to hook her, but he gets me out of the fight. It's this is a nano boosted Sylvanas this time. And again, that was another area where I think the Cannibalize would have been better instead of the Tenderizer. So he went Cannibalize. That's why he's trying to auto attack me just in these like one-on-one fights. And I didn't. I went Tenderizer. And so my goal in these fights is to try to pull someone in and then kill them with my team. His point of these fights is just take as long fights as he can. So we both are taking different approaches in these, and we both play it to our strengths. But yeah, that's generally how it is. I'm actually curious where the Sylvanas is, because when I played this game, she was really low health, and I couldn't remember where she went. Okay, I was just curious. Alright, so I'm back here. As we get up to level 20, there is a talent that I pick up that is questionable, and I'd like to hear your guys' opinions about this, because when I first picked it, I was like, this seems like a really good talent. But then after I picked it up, I was talking to someone, and the person I was talking to said, actually, that's probably not the best talent because of this, this, and this. And I'll talk to you guys about it when we get there. So again, I hook, I gorge, and then we kind of chase into him. And the thing that I love about Stitches is he has this slow now, which I miss every time. But it's really, really nice for when you're trying to take people out. And it's nice because you can follow up your own hooks without needing your team. Kind of gives Stitches a little bit more of a carry potential, to be honest. I end up dying there, and I'm going to fast forward. In level 20, I had a hard time picking a talent. Hungry Stitches seems pretty good in team fights, and it's just generally a talent that's kind of like, if your team's really focusing on killing people and you eat everyone that they're not focusing on, you can really take them out. But if your team's a little bit uncoordinated, I wanted to try Shambling Horror. Shambling Horror makes it to where you gain the 50 armor for 4 seconds, as well as it makes it to where your movement speed can't be reduced below 100%. Well, while that's cool that you kind of have a mini cleanse, I have an extra 10% movement speed, which means if I activate this and they slow me, that extra 10% movement speed doesn't do anything. it's still, this talent's only, so it doesn't synergize well with level 1 talent. I still think it's a better talent even though it doesn't synergize with it. It's still a really good talent to be able to like not be worried about those things, but it is something to think about, just to know that that is a kind of a tough one. So you can see I pop it right here, and I was taking a lot of hits, and then it didn't really matter too much. Then I get right back in there, I slow him, and then I can use the Tenderizer to keep him slowed. Generally, it's a, I think it's a pretty cool Stitches build. I will talk a little bit about the W build as well. Actually, I want to show a game about the W build. The only reason that I didn't want to show this game is as an actual game is that they ended up having a bot. So that's why I didn't want to share it that much, is they ended up having a bot. So, I showed you this entire game. We take this, and you can see there's only 30 seconds left in the game. We take it directly and win the game. So, I want to show you guys real quick the other game that I played Stitches in. So, you kind of get a 2-for-1. If you only wanted to watch one, you can be done here. If not, there was another game that I played Stitches. It was right here. And this game is going to show you pretty quickly where a slam build can kind of get out of control. And then I'll probably see if I can make a Sylvanas video after this. But I had a lot of fun with Stitches. I actually don't play a lot of Sylvanas, so I didn't play her during the PTR, but I'll use one of the games from just a different perspective. But I play a lot of Stitches, so I figured that I really wanted to play his new reworks and kind of see what we could do. All right, so let's go. Here, is this one me? I believe so. So you can see in this one I end up going with patchwork creation. The goal here is for a W build, this talent seems really good and really valuable in the early game, while in the late game slam builds don't tend to be that great. Like, they tend to be they're really good in the late game, but you don't need these talents. Like, you're not going to be getting too close to devour people that often in a slam build. You're going to be focused more on hitting people as often as possible, getting your slams off as much as possible, and you don't really need the movement speed because you're constantly slowing people. So you can always kind of get around the fights wherever you want, which is why for the slam build that I chose to go, I went patchwork creation. I just think that it was generally a really good talent. It takes me a long time to pick it up because I'm sitting here wondering this in my mind while I'm playing of what would be good in a slam build. And after I take this talent once, I realize how good it actually is. So I take it like every time I run the slam build. The only one, I mean, you could get away with Hungry for More because in a slam build, you can see I have a lot of wave clear. I could easily go and get the other thing. So if you attack the middle minion with his new passive, you apply the dot to everything. So you see me attack the middle minion a lot, and then you see me swap over to the back minions. As the minions die, if I'm near it, I'll get extra healing. So I probably should have stayed a little bit closer, but I just didn't want to take unnecessary damage. So watch, I get that 37 healing every time a minion dies, and it's pretty good. And onto the, again, I'm just trying to play safe at the moment. So I want to fast forward through this game. As I'm fast forwarding through this game, I want to tell you guys that this video is sponsored by Join Honey. Yeah, so Honey was a sponsor that I've been using for a little while, and it was something that I found and then checked to see if they had sponsorships, and then contacted them and got a sponsorship. Put simply, Join Honey is a tool that you can use that makes it to where you can, what's it called? You can add an extension onto your browser, and then it will check for coupons and deals on other websites. Say, for instance, you see an item that's at Walmart, and then it might give you a notification that says there's better prices elsewhere, and you can find that item at Amazon instead. Or maybe you go to a website and there's coupons that are available that someone's added. You can, instead of typing anything, you can literally just press the button that says apply the best coupon you can find online, and it will automatically apply those coupons. It's a completely free extension that you can add, and if you use my link, it helps me out, which is kind of nice. So I will put that link of Joey and Honey in the comments below, and you can join in and then kind of start saving money whenever you're shopping online. And it's just nice in general. All right, now that we've seen myself die a few times and we've gotten through that, let's yeah, we're having fun with the experience changes. So in slam build, I always go bile, and my reason for going bile is it just makes me scarier in a team fight. I can be slamming people, I can be moving around them, slowing their entire team, slamming all the time. If you want a slam build, you don't want to get gorge, and the reason why you don't want to get gorge is because if you gorge someone, you tend to want to kind of run away from the enemy team and get near a tower. You don't want to do that. With slam, you want to keep slamming every time the slam cooldown's up. And so that's why I like to go bile, so I can stay in the middle of the fight for as long as possible. The extra movement speed also allows you to manipulate, move around the fight a little bit better. So the talents that I end up picking, Patchwork, again, it makes sense, allows me to soak more, get healed more, so I can kind of be more of a tank, even though I'm just slamming. I got Chop Chop because I want to be slamming as many people as possible, and if I'm already in the range to slam, I'm also probably auto-attacking, and if I'm already slowing with Putrid Bile, then I can just sit on him. I picked up Tenderizer, but I think I would change it to Blight now that I've played with Slam Build a few times. I feel like the Blight is a fast way to get extra damage onto all the targets very quickly, as well as Blight makes it to where the enemy heroes receive 20% less healing, and you also heal off of your Blight, so you're tankier. The Tenderize didn't seem to be that big of a deal because I was slamming so often and hitting so many different targets and pulling people around, and I usually had Bile slowing, that I didn't really need the Tenderize in team fights. I think the Blight would be the better talent pick in for the Slam build. Level 13, I go with Lacerate. This is when the Slam build starts kind of differentiating from some other builds. You get the extra slam damage because of the Vile Gas that it applies, which the Vile Gas would also heal you. So you're going to want to slam people to get the Vile Gas, which is also going to heal if you get Blight. And then you're also reducing the enemy's armor, no matter where you hit them in that. So you're constantly reducing the enemy's armor, you're constantly reducing their movement speed, and you're also going to be healing off of the Blight, which the extra healing you're going to get is going to be increased because all of your healing effects are increased as well. So the Slam build's going to be a pretty beefy tank that has a lot of healing. So that's what I would pick up at level 13, and we summon our constant catapults, and it actually looks like we win here. Level 16, what I would end up picking is the Pulverize talent, makes it to where everyone's slowed by 75% in the hook range for 1 second. And then at level 20, you can go with a few different things, but I would probably be picking up either this Shambling Horror or the Second Helping. Allows me to heal more, or it allows me to survive more. And generally, I think those are going to be the best talents for the Slam build. And I think generally the Slam build is about where it used to be, maybe a little bit stronger in the early game and not quite as strong in the late game. But I think that it's still, I mean, Stitches in the late game is already a beast because you land a hook late game and you win. So I think they really balanced it out, but I am a little cautious about the changes for Slam build. And also Rip Retchling. Like, Retchling was the coolest little dude out there, and they got rid of him. So if everyone can say Rip Retchling, because that really sucks. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Feel free to check out any of my other videos. My goal is to have a Sylvanas video out soon as well, and hopefully this one helped you guys understand the new Stitches and the playstyles I think that he'll be used. I think there's 3 builds. I mentioned them in the other thing. I think there's a Hook Gorge build, a Hook battle hook build, and I think there's still the Slam build. Possibly another build in there if you want to, like an E stacking quest, lowering the cooldown type build if you really wanted to do something like that, but I don't know if that's going to be anything major. Thank you again for watching. Feel free to check out my other videos.